World Championship. I'm Jon Ludwig Hammer. I'm joined by Arena Crush, and these are our competitors in the frame right now. Nodirbek Abdusattorov with the white pieces playing against Jan Nepomniacthchi. Abdusattorov going for the English defense. We once again see the moves coming very quickly in from the beginning. Abdusattorov choosing the same opening he used to defeat Magnus Carlsen earlier today.
Yeah, I hope you guys are as impressed with Abdusattorov as we are. I mean, you can see that it's not a fluke that he's his rapid championship final. I mean, he defends in such a tough position against Jan Nepomniacthchi, who seemed a bit better prepared for him in the opening in the last game. And so here we are, he's with the white pieces repeating the same opening he did against Magnus Carlsen. I mean, it's a very solid kind of position for both sides. At the moment, all the pawns are still on the board. Now the F file just opened up for white, and white is doing a really typical plan where he's bringing his queen over to the king side.
And he will be trying to get that queen pointing down towards black's king. In addition, look at all these pawns in the middle. Abdusattorov just controlling the center of the board right now.
Yeah, and I mean, somewhere in this game, white, I'm sure, will be thinking about the rook sacrifice on f6. It's called an exchange sacrifice when you give up a rook for a minor piece. But Nepomniacthchi takes that idea away from him. He just moved his knight to g6. And honestly, I kind of like white's position, especially for a blitz game. It just feels like his moves are easier to play, and he's got a bit of an initiative, right? So it's not like something is really wrong with black's position, but at the moment, it's easier to play for white.
Yeah, look at that queen coming up, pointing down towards the black king. Nepomniacthchi feels he has to get rid of white's aggressive knight, but the knight is replaced with a rook, and there's another one rook coming in after it. I'm really liking the way the young Uzbek player is coping with the pressure right here.
Yes, Nepomniacthchi's been put onto the defensive a little bit. He's having to move away his knight from any potential sacrifices there. A good move, knight h7, by the way. I like that move. And Abdusattorov got to make an easy move, rook to f1. Ooh, big decision by Nepo. He's offering a queen trade. I like that move. Certainly white would lose some of their initiative if they trade queens, but if they don't, where would they move their queen? They don't really have a spot for it.
Yeah, if you go with the queen to the left, that queen will be chased by the black knight. I'm going to say Abdusattorov definitely should move the queen back into the corner of the board. It's a shocking move, but I really feel like he needs to keep the queens on. He's decided to use his king to move it forward. But now, with the queens gone, this doubled pawn, the pawns on the same file, that could be a long-term weakness for white. So I'm in terms of the trend of the position, I'm liking what Nepomniacthchi has accomplished over the last couple of moves.
I agree. Maybe white can play bishop g4 here, or he played h4. That's also a very standard idea. Now he puts the bishop there, and he's threatening rook takes f7 ideas. There's already tactics appearing on the board because that would remove the guard of the knight. So I think he's, you're right that Nepo, in a way, it looked like he was beating back the initiative, but still, even in this position, white is the one making threats.
And actually, the knight needs to move, but if it moves forward, that's just going to entice the Uzbek player to push his pawns further forward. I'm looking at the evaluation bar, which is more white than black at the moment, indicating that it's actually the teenager who has the advantage and who could go ahead and become world champion at age 17.
Okay, I like Nepo's move f6 because he knew this pawn was a problem. White was having a threat of knight b6 to d7, trying to push away the rook and win the pawn. This was a very smart move by Nepo, and it kind of stops white for the moment. And Nodirbek is thinking, how do I break through? He goes in the center. His move doesn't really make a threat at the moment, though.
I think he's just going to move his rooks. He's going to get those rooks over and point down towards the black position. He has the tension between the pawns, so he is the one who can decide when we're going to open up and see the white rooks infiltrate. This is a very, very good position for white. Nodirbek could be minutes away from becoming a teenage world champion. He also has a sizable advantage on the clock, more than 30 seconds extra compared to Nepomniacthchi.
Yeah, I love looking at him. He's so focused and so confident. You know, just in his body language, is completely into the game, but like not intimidated at all by his much more well-known opponent. And you're right, you know, like the black knights are so cramped, they can't move anywhere. Black would love to move the king out to e6, but he can never do that because of the bishop. And white has this simple plan of just doubling on the d file and putting pressure on the d6 pawn, and that's why Nepo lashes out with this move b5, trying to change the character of the game.
And in making that decision, Nepomniacthchi is now down a full minute on the clock. 38 seconds for Nepomniacthchi, 21 minute 27 seconds for Abdusattorov. However, it's not clear how he's going to win this game. He does have that pressure with his rooks pointing down in the middle of the board. But as for now, these black pawns have been are well protected by the knights.
Yeah. Nepomniacthchi has managed to make it a little difficult for white to just effectuate his plan of attacking the d pawn. However, there are weaknesses that have been exposed in black's pawn structure. Both the c and the d pawns are potential long-term problems. So it's still really anyone's game. I mean, it's not going to be easy for Nodirbek here.
No, and you can tell from the amount of time he's taking on his decisions that he's insecure about the road moving forward. He did have a 1 minute time advantage, but it has now been reduced to just 30 seconds.
Yeah, so he pushed his pawn to h5. I think that's a very understandable decision, just trying to secure some more space on the king side. This position, I mean, in these kinds of endgames, you try to get any little advantage you can. There's rarely a direct win, and so every bit of space that you can take anywhere on the board, any weakness that you can create, that's what you're playing for. I like his move bishop e2. He's probably going to try to put the bishop on c4. That's what he did, and now move the bishop away to b3. First he traded on e5 though.
Yeah, there's trickery going on right now. The bishop could have been captured, but then it would have been opened up towards the black rook. The pin, the white rook pointing down on the black king, has made Nodirbek, it has enabled him to win a pawn, and with it, his advantage is increasing. A pawn extra for the Uzbeki youngster, and he also remains with a big time advantage.
I really like where this is going for Nodirbek, and I feel like in a way the simpler it gets, the better for him. I mean, his rook is perfectly positioned on d2, protecting his pawns. You know, it's very unpleasant for Nepomniacthchi. Yeah, he's going to be down a pawn here, and of course there's chances to save this game, but there's also good chances for white to win.
And Nodirbek chooses to push his pawn forward. He's opening up for his rook to attack the other guy on the left-hand side. Here's the choice for Nepomniacthchi. He chooses to save his pawn, but that means the white pawn in the middle is just pushing further forward, and that move was definitely not played. He probably went with his rook up so that he's both defending his pawn and attacking towards the black pawn. Nodirbek is about to become the world champion. There's a check on the white king. The king escapes. The black king is in dire straits on the side of the board. Nodirbek just needs to find a couple of good moves now, and he does have the time on the clock to figure it out. He has
actually he does not. Checkmate. Rook e5, king h4, rook g4. Wasn't that pretty good for white?
He did have a checkmate in 2 moves there. Irina saw the checkmate. Nodirbek did not. Nodirbek is trying to get a new queen while at the same time trying to punish the black king standing on the side of the board. The white king is trying to run away from the checks. The rook just keeps checking in on that white king. Can the king get away? Both players are down to just 10 seconds on the clock. The king is finding shelter on the side of the board. Now he's returning to that checkmating idea that Irina, I identified earlier on. And now
King,
here comes the
queen.
new queen.
Yes,
The new
he's
queen
doing
comes
it.
in, and then he's going in for the checkmate. Nepomniacthchi will have to give up his rook in order to stop, and he resigns. Nodirbek